Are you team werewolf or team vampire? So it's safe to say that I am team vampire all the way. My first foray into vampires was none other than Brad Pitt in Interview with the Vampire. My favorite movie of all time. Number one. Number one favorite movie of all time. And it's not until about a year or two ago that I actually read Interview with the Vampire. Loved it. Loved it. So I am team vampire all the way. So in this video, I thought it would be a good choice to have some fun with some books, and for that reason, I chose vampires. Now, I am doing later on a full dive into the Black Dagger Brotherhood because I enjoy that series as well. But for right now, I just want to have some fun with some vampire books, and let's get into what could be read for this video. Not all of these books will be read, but what could be read for this video. And aren't y'all lucky I have something in this cup? This little cup is the cutest, and I'm glad that I made it. And I'm gonna tell y'all I made it every time you see this cup in the video. So like I said, I have read Interview with the Vampire. I've even read The Vampire Lestat, which I did not enjoy as much. But The Queen of the Damned, the movie, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, Aaliyah, body, tea. Everything was good in that movie. But The Queen of the Damned could be read for this video. I haven't read this one yet. I recently got this book from Second & Charles. It's called Love by Night, a Black vampire story by Stina. Never heard of this, but Black vampires, especially when you think of Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy and Angela Bassett. Stina. I hope this is good. Next, we have Uriah Derrick Darcy, The Black Vampire, A Legend of St. Domingo, 1819. The first time ever in paperback. I looked up Black vampire stories, and I've seen this come across a lot of people's lists, especially after Sinners. So I picked this one up. This is also a book I got from Second & Charles. Helen Hardt's Unchained Blood Bond Saga, Volume 1, because this is an omnibus. So parts 1, 2, and 3 are in this one book. And everybody knows I love an omnibus. If you don't, hello, my name is Sasha Bonet, and I love an omnibus. But yeah, with the blood on the cup, I like omnibus. I don't know why. How do you say that in plural? Somebody tell me below. But can't wait to dive into this one. Here's another one that keeps popping up on everyone's After Sinners book list. So you got P. Djeli Clark. I hope I'm saying their name correctly. Ring Shout. And I don't know what this is about in no forms of the word. And I just noticed the eyes are teeth and lips. Ew. We're going to see what this is about. Here's another one, A Shade of Vampire, new and lengthened 2015 edition by Bella Forrest. Again, I got this from Second & Charles. Now, next we have A Dowry in Blood by S.T. Gibson. And I didn't know it was part of a series. Maybe it's interconnected or just the world or the writer just put them together. But A Dowry in Blood, which I do not own, but I did get on Libby from my library. So I will be listening to A Dowry in Blood. And if I enjoy A Dowry in Blood, it will help me go on to reading An Education in Malice, also by S.T. Gibson, the second one in that series. And I own this one, and I didn't know it was part of her series. So we'll get to this one if I like that one. So this is a TBR for this video. That doesn't mean, like I said, all of the books will be read in this video, but I cannot wait to dive into some vampire stories with you all. Let's get into reading. So before I update you on Love by Night by Stina, let's get into, I had to go to the library, drop some books off. They were due today. A book and an audiobook. And I'm so angry that I never got to the audiobook. It was Stephen King's The Long Walk. I really do want to read that book, just didn't have the time. But while I was there, my library was giving away some free books, so I picked up some, and I picked up Lisa Gardner's The Survivors Club. And I heard she's kind of like Karen Slaughter. I've never read a Karen Slaughter book, but I want to try a Lisa Gardner book. However, because I know that Karen Slaughter is very aggressive with her writing, this is not something I'm in the mood to read right now, but I hope to read it and, you know, get a feel for her writing style. But also, I've never read a James Patterson book ever. And James Patterson is someone who's been around since I was younger, when my aunt used to read his books, and other older people around me used to read his books. And I'm like, but he has so many of them. And because I saw this one and I know he has the numbers books, I was like, oh, so I get to read the first one and for free. So I picked it up. It's First to Die. The series is Women's Murder Club. I like a good murder mystery thriller kind of situation. So I hope this one is good. This one, The Pelican Reef by John Grisham, was a movie with Denzel Washington in it. And we all, as little children, were just as in love with Denzel Washington as our mamas, aunties, grandmamas, and everybody else. We've grown out of that infatuation love to respect and care and all of the things for Denzel Washington. However, when he was in this era, everybody was infatuated with that man. And I do remember watching this movie, but it was so long ago and I only watched it once. So I think I might read the book, watch the movie. Let me know if that's something you guys will be into later on, but I can't wait. And last but not least is Dan Brown's Digital Fortress. Now, I do love Dan Brown's Robert Langdon series. I don't care who says it's a dad read or whatever. I enjoyed it. I do think that man is getting up in age, Robert Langdon, to be doing the things that they be having this man doing in these books. However, it's still entertaining. It has a little bit of historical context in it that you can actually look up for yourself. And yes, it deviates from the canon material. However, it's still entertaining, interesting, and all of the things. So I picked up Digital Fortress because he did tap into, and I think it was the 5th book in the Robert Langdon series having to do with AI and things like that. So Digital Fortress, I want to know what this is about. I heard it's not good, but I'll make my own judgments after I read it. Love by Night, a Black Vampire Story by Stina. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. 2.5. This was not good. You know how a book gives you, everybody says that the second one too is better. I don't think I'm gonna make it there. But okay, let me first tell you what this book is about. This book is about a young girl who, when she was young, her father beat her mother profusely and then one day killed her brother. And then one day killed her older brother in front of the whole family. Her mother then clocked out of reality. And I don't think we ever find out what happens. We do, but I don't remember what happened to her younger brother. I think he got arrested because of all the trauma in their home, rightfully so. He got arrested. Mom went to a mental institution and she's on her own. She finally gets to college, a historical college. And when she gets there, she has a roommate who says, girl, have you ever heard of the stuff that goes on this campus? She's like, no. And she was like, well, I think we have dead ones that occupy this campus. And she's like, what the hell is that? So she basically tells her vampires. And people go missing on this campus. And you'll know the popular ones because they're bright, their skin look good, they face tea, body tea, everything, right? And she basically says, girl, fuck away from me with that nonsense, even though our main character can hear spirits because she talks to her brother. Her brother visits her all the time, the one that her dad killed. And on the first day on the campus, she runs into Kesh, and Kesh is a hundreds and hundreds year old vampire that is king of his clan, the Sifu. I think it's Sifu. The Sifu. And the story progresses from there. However, this was not good because there's no way that as a Black person, even if I go to a campus that is historical or a PWI campus, there is no way in hell that I think that there's dead ones here and I go looking for trouble. Why would you? Why would you do that? It's just so many things that were just so, what the fuck am I reading? Coded. It wasn't like a good messy time. It wasn't any of that. And I don't like when you're watching, like, think of this. Let's talk about John Wick or whatever. That man left no one alive. Why? Because they always come back. They always come back. In this book, he let someone live who is blatantly telling him 10 toes down, let's say 10 toes down, no toes left behind, that you're doing something that I don't like and I won't follow that shit. Why on earth would you think you just telling them I'm king and you will listen to me means that they will definitely listen to you? So every time something like that happened, I got pissed off. I'm sorry. So 2.5, it wasn't even enjoyable. Plus the fight in this book, the big bad is that vampires were white and then vampires were able to be black, and the white vampires were hunting these black vampires because they felt like only white people should be vampires. This was not a fun, good time. No, it wasn't. But I think for my next vampire read, it will be Helen Hardt's Unchained, the Blood Bond Saga 1. And because I wasn't having a good time with the first one, that's why I did not come in and fill you in. There wasn't anything fun or good or nice to say about the book, so no. But this one, I do think I might have a good fun time, so we'll see. And if it's not this one, it'll be one of the other ones that I showed you. But I am hoping that one of these books will give me a fun, good, stupid, crazy time that I can actually be like, there it is right there. Also, this book does have a book 2, which I will not be continuing on. I read on Goodreads that it gets better. A lot of people were like, oh my God, this is so much better, so much more fleshed out. The characters are better, the writing is better, which could be 100% true. However, I'm not going to find out for myself. So I have finished Helen Hardt's Unchained Blood Bond Saga Omnibus Volume 1. 3 books are in this omnibus and I enjoyed it. Let me tell you quickly what it's about. We are following the story of Dante, who is our vampire, our MMC, and he has been captured by someone known as the Queen for 10 years, since he was 18, and he escaped when he was 28. He's been away for 10 years. This is in New Orleans, and before he got captured, his family didn't give him a chance to run down the lore, because I'm guessing it happens around the time that you're 18, and he was taken as a blood slave before his family could give him all of that information, that pertinent information that a vampire needs to know. He was taken before that. So he doesn't have all of that information. He's coming back to cell phones being like height, peak height of technology. Like it was, I think, a thing when he, before he was taken, but they're like in your pocket, small as hell now. And he's like, what? But there's a couple of things I like about this story. I like that the vampire lore is a little bit different. And every time I read a vampire story, I am enthralled by different vampire stories, not the same telling. You understand what I'm saying? We are human beings, okay? Reading books about paranormal activity, and paranormal meaning things that are not normal, close to normal, but not exactly. And in this vampire lore that we have, vampires can walk in the sun. It's hard, but it's not like life-threatening unless they're in the sun for hours upon hours with no coverage on their skin. And they don't live thousands of years, it seems. It seems they only live a few years above human beings. But in this, it's called Unchained. The book is called Unchained because he was unchained, and that is the reason why he was able to escape. And you follow his time of getting out, running into our FMC, whose name is Erin, and she is an ER nurse. And this town of New Orleans is fraught with paranormal activity. So there's ghosts, there's werewolves, there are vampires that we know of. And those are the 3 paranormal entities that I've sussed out in this volume. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was very lustful. One thing, one critique I'm going to give this book is that nobody needs to say the first and last name of a person that many times. Dante Gabriel. Like, we don't need that. We do not need that. But I am excited to continue reading through this series. It was fun. It was very easy. The chapters were very short. It's only 2 POVs in this one, and every epilogue of the 3 books that are in here is another POV of that unknown figure known as the Queen, and I enjoyed that as well. And every prologue for the second book and the third book are the last chapter of the first book. So the prologue of the second book is the last chapter of the first book. The prologue of the third book is the last chapter of the second book, just in case you get the omnibus and you don't read it all the way through like I do. You read one and wait a while, read the second, wait a while. It kind of like keeps you up to date in your mind of what has just happened from the last time. So I enjoyed it. I'm giving it like a 4 I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I'm going to continue in this series, so we'll move on to our next book. Okay, so I've read the first chapter in P. Djeli Clark's Ring Shout, and I didn't think that is how this book would start. So this book starts off with 3 women on the top of a building, staking it out, waiting for the Ku Kluxers. And you're thinking, in my head, I'm thinking Ku Kluxers are just white people dressed as a Klan, right? They are otherworldly. They are some form of monster. And it's not necessarily a vampire that I thought it was going to be, but it is monstrous. Whatever they are monstrous. And these 3 women take them out. Now, who exactly and what exactly are these women? Because they're badasses, okay? I haven't found that out, but the first chapter is just them on the roof waiting for the Ku Kluxers to come. They set out some meat, which is dog carcass, in the alley because for some reason Ku Kluxers like that kind of meat or drawn to that kind of stench or something. And 3 Ku Kluxers come into the alley and start to like devour this carcass, and they get into action. They get active, and there's hand to hand. There's a sword that appears, or a what do you call it, like a scythe kind of thing that appears in one of their hands, and it's kind of like magical. One is good with a shotgun, one is good with a knife. They're all badass women, kicking ass and taking names. That's all that first chapter was, with no real backstory for anything, but that Ku Kluxers are monsters. Enjoyable. This is very enjoyable. Chapter 1, I'm sucked in. But like I said, I don't think of vampire when the Ku Kluxer was on page. It seemed really like, I don't know, demonic monster kind of thing. I don't know. But I'm enjoying the writing and the badassery. So it has come to my recollection as I'm reading this book. I reached chapter 4. So I read 3 chapters of this book. This book is fairly easy to read. And even though I could finish reading this book during this video, I'm not going to, because I was reading books that were vampire books. This is not a vampire book. This is, and I can see why people have come to the conclusion that if you like Sinners, you would like this. The vibes are all there. The setting, the talk, the way, the dialect, the mention of haints and all of that. But these are monsters, not specifically vampires. So I'm gonna not read this for this video, but I will continue to read this book, but not for this video. However, vampire-wise, this is the second omnibus in the Blood Bond Saga by Helen Hardt. And I've read the first book in this omnibus, which is book 4. So I've read books 1 through 3 with the first volume, and 4 through 6 is in here. And I'm enjoying this series because people tend to forget that a book doesn't have to be Pulitzer Prize winning writing or storytelling for you to just have a great old time. Look at Twilight, okay? And books in that vein. I'm just having a good old time. Now, this book is not without its faults. It is not without its critiques because the writing is very juvenile. There's also certain words and depictions, especially during sex scenes, that have me going, ugh, you know what I mean? But other than that, I'm having a good time because I truly want to know what the hell is going on, even though I kind of have a clue. But this would have been something that would have been a show back in the 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, and we would have eaten this up, right? This would have been on the CW or WB, and we would have tuned in weekly to watch the nonsense unfold in these books. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm having a great time. So I will finish this one instead of Ring Shout. Let me tell you where we are at by the time this book is here. We have Erin, right? That's her name, right? Yeah, we have Erin and Dante. Dante was kidnapped and everything before book 1 even starts, before volume 1 even starts. And he's now back. Him and Erin have formed what is known as a blood bond. And blood bonds have not been around for centuries, like centuries upon centuries. So everyone is looking at him like, no, you can't be, like you're attracted to this woman or drawn to this woman because you've been kidnapped and out of, play for 10 years. So your senses are out of whack. You can't control your bloodlust and all of that. But no, him and Eren have formed a blood bond. And usually it is the human that forms the blood bond without even knowing that they're doing it. Plus, when it comes to DNA, we have now learned that Dante's DNA has been altered. And how is that possible? I think I understand how, because the queen who kidnapped him was feeding him her blood and taking his blood. And that's not something in this world that vampires do. The only time vampires feed on humans is because they're bad vampires or they have a blood bond. Because vampires in this world drink blood from animals and things like that, but they do not feed on humans without human consent. They just think it's morally wrong. They do not glamour because they also think that that is morally wrong. But all of that is happening here. Plus, someone has been feeding on Eren. And I think I know who it is. I think I know who it is as a couple of people. But also, Eren works at the hospital. And she has realized that everybody at the hospital that has either gone missing or that kind of works there is all B positive blood. What is Eren? B positive. What is Dante at this moment? B positive. And he should not be. I am enjoying this. Like, they are having sex now every other page. It don't last that long. So it's not like it's like a fucking again. But it don't last that long anyway. So moving on with the story, it's just an entertaining story. I am having a great time with this book. It's safe to say I have finished Unhinged by Helen Hardt, Blood Bond Saga. Yeah, I said it right. Blood Bond Saga Volume 2. And this one, I'm going to give a 3.5. And again, I'm in the mood to read vampire stories. And this is giving me everything that Vampire Diaries, let's say the Twilight movies, because I never read the Twilight books, originals, all of that gives me, all of this. You know what I mean? Like, this book gives me all of that. This series gives me all of that. And I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. However, if I hear the word ripe again, I get that the word ripe for the author, she's trying to convey ripe as for the picking, like you're ready. But ripe to me that's a smell I don't want to smell. That's an odor I don't want to accost my nostrils. I don't want to hear that again. The wording around the sexual scenes are cringeworthy at best. However, I enjoyed the story. There are some issues. Again, these are not the best written stories ever. They are fun if you are willing to turn your brain off, because again, this is a vampire story. This is not rooted in anything closely based to reality. And I'm gonna tell you what we get in this volume that I'm waiting for it to come to fruition in the other future books, which is who's been feeding on Eren. Right? We still have not gotten to that. Who are these vampires that have taken a liking and a beating to Abe Lincoln, or aka Red Rover? Why don't we see Emilia, Dante's sister, as much as we should? And why is nobody questioning the fact that Emilia and Jay, who is not a vampire, are about to have a baby and he doesn't know about it, and he possibly doesn't even know that she's been feeding on him, or that someone has been feeding on him? That's not brought up enough for me. There's also the fact that once Dante comes back in the first book, everything is off the table in my opinion. So just imagine someone that you thought was dead, was gone, was not coming back, possibly. And also his father and his uncle have also gone missing looking for him. If he comes back, anything in the realm is open in the realm of possibilities, because in this book we now have ghosts. We know that werewolves and werecats, which are most likely panthers, are a thing in this world. And everybody's like, no, can't be, really? And I'm like, I hate when that happens, because once we open our minds to vampires, what's wrong with ghosts? What's wrong with wares? You know what I mean? Like, it gets to a point where it gets irritating for a character to be like, I'll accept vampires, but ghosts, that's where I draw the line. Shut the fuck up. It's all real. If he'd have said, and then leprechauns, I'd have said, absolutely. If it were me in the book, in this world, and someone was to say, you know what, unicorns are also, Absolutely. I believe you. I believe you. Because what are we talking about? But it's a level of stupidity that the characters have at points. Dante keeps saying that he has to protect Erin, but he knows that within a certain time frame, she got newly bitten, and it wasn't him or his family that did it. And it was against her consent, which means she was glamored into being bitten. Where was she at during that time? She was at work. Why hasn't anyone said in their rightful mind, even though it's a book, I'm gonna trail Erin while she's at work, because she disappears or she doesn't have any knowledge as to what's going on. It has to be happening at that damn hospital. Nobody has done that yet. And this is 6 books in, 2 volumes, but 6 books in, and nobody has thought to do that. That's a little disappointing because it's common sense, especially with River being a cop. Like, he didn't think of that, not one time. Anyway, moving on. I am going to continue this series. However, I do not own the other volumes, so I have to pick up the other volumes. But I had a good time. These are very easy and fast-paced, easy to read, and I'm going to continue them. That ends this video, though. So I started this video with wanting to read vampire books. I was so in the mood for vampire books. So we read Love by Night by Stina, a black vampire story. I did not like this. I gave this 2 stars. Gonna move forward. Not going to. This has a book 2 that I will not be dibbling and dabbling into because book 1 was so disappointing to me. I attempted to read Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clark. This is a great story. However, it is not a vampire story. And that is what I was looking for. So it's not even a soft DNF. I'm going to read this, but not right now, because that is what I was looking forward to when I opened this book, and that's not what I got. So you'll probably either see me read this or I'll just read it on my own. And then we have volumes 1 and 2, Unchained and Unhinged by Helen Hardt, the Blood Bond Saga, and there's like 3 to 4 more volumes in this series. And I will be picking them up, and I will be continuing to read them because I enjoy this nonsensical vampire New Orleans kind of, supernatural paranormal world. I enjoy it, and that's it for this. If you want to see me read another demographic of paranormal activity, werewolves, vampires, mermaids, I don't know. I haven't read anything with any of that, I don't think, for the most part, and that's why I wanted to do vampires so much. But let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.